And now, get ready.
Keep up with Femidlive for live updates on Twitter at Femidlive, on Facebook at Femidlive, Instagram at Femidlive. All major platforms you would find Femidlive. Send your messages and email femid@live.com to keep the conversation going even now.
Talk show unravels your thinking, makes you stop to listen, engages you in a debate of opinions.
I believe this man knows what he is doing. He is a Nigerian.
And ultimately brings you to the king of talk radio, Femidlive. This is Femidlive.
Welcome back to the show right here. This is J101.9. I'm glad you're with me. I'm Femidlive, and yes, this is room for debate. There's room really to debate every time you think about the situation going on in the country. Now, earlier on today, the Nigerian Senate decided that age limit barrier, that's limitation. That when they say everything about 2-1, and then they say, oh, you read that county, and they say you're from Edo State, and they even go on to mention every other thing. And then you say, I'm qualified for this job. I really can do this job. And then there's one part of the discussion that gets you going. And they say you have to have a master's at 25 years old. That doesn't sound bad. Is it achievable in the Nigerian academic environment? Maybe, maybe not. Let's calculate. If it is true or possible that at the age of 25, for many people who go to public schools, like some of us did now, or federal government institution. I know when you say public, people don't like it. But if you went to a federal government school, an institution, the story is a little bit interesting. Is it possible to attain or achieve 25, at the age of 25, this is always the popular age, many of the banks and all the recruitment services call on to say, oh, you have to be 25 in order to get a job. Let's follow this story in the most simple way we can. So, there's a newborn baby. Let's call his name Bulu. Bulu. Oh yes, baby Bulu starts to grow. His mother feeds him. She feeds him, make sure he's a healthy baby. She follows the breastfeeding exercise. The baby starts to have chubby cheeks. Good enough. It looks like he's going to grow up to be a full-grown man almost without going through the age ranks. So baby Bulu keeps growing. And soon enough, he's 2 years old. And daddy starts to say, oh, my boy can walk right now. And mommy says, this boy has finally turned out to look like me. It looks just like me. And daddy says, no, it looks like me. And then everybody waits till maybe when Bulu becomes 3 years old and says, it's time for Bulu to go to school and learn how to read or maybe to blah, blah and write. Baby Bulu is now in school, 3 years old. Not too sure if he's learning anything, but is in school. Seated, pulling the hair of the girl next to him, and is just carrying on and playing around and playing around and playing around. Plays with toys, pulls a lot, drinks water, sleeps, cries, sleeps, pulls a lot, sleeps, cries a lot, pulls a lot. Maybe that's the typical schedule of any baby. So at 3, it keeps going on. So soon enough, there's a birthday party because baby Bulu is now 5 years old. Is successfully gone from kindergarten, from the crèche to kindergarten, and now is in nursery 3. I'm not too sure why there's nursery 3 in Nigeria anyway, but he's now in nursery 3. And everybody comes to say, oh, he's now in nursery 3. He was went to primary school, maybe at the age of 5 years old. Soon enough, baby Bulu is now dressed up differently. Not a nursery school boy, not a nursery school man. Is pressing his conscience towards primary school with all audacity. Let me start something like that. I don't even know if that word is correct. But he's now in primary 1 by the age of 6. Primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. Soon enough, baby Bulu needs to learn that he needs to drop pencil and pick up biro to use. And then he starts to lose his pencils, and they start to buy him biro. And then he starts to paint everything paintable in the house. At this age, let's see, 7 years old, biros are missing, pencils are broken, eraser sharpener deal comes in from primary 1 to 3. And then biro comes in when you enter 4. Primary 4 biro, he's now using the popular biro at primary 4. 4 to 6, it starts to learn that the world is different. What they taught you in primary 1 to 3 is a little bit different from, it doesn't even look like it's the same primary school. The teacher in primary 4 can flog, she can beat, she likes to beat plenty. 4 to 5, and then mommy starts to say, baby Bulu is a little bit brilliant. Maybe you should try his common entrance from primary 5 and not go to primary 6. Like they say, many people who go to primary 6 are not exactly the sharpest. Forgive me. I went through primary 5, but the bragging right then is if your kid can go from primary 5 and to secondary school, you're on point. So, we've completed the 6 part of the 6-3-3-4 education system in Nigeria, right? Baby Bulu is now in primary 4. Soon enough in 5, tried his hand on the common entrance, maybe sometimes in primary 4. But most people go to public schools, primary 5, primary 6. He learns the difference between quantitative analysis, verbal analysis. Stay with me, this story gets interesting. So, he's fortunate enough to try common entrance, try and error, and they say, oh no, it's not wise enough, it's not old enough, let him do primary 6. Not because he didn't pass. It comes about to do primary 6. And then he goes to GSS 1, passes his common entrance, is either a federal school, a private school, or any other school available within the state. Let's say he chooses to go, as many of us likely are going to have our children go to public schools because of the price of private schools these days. So he goes to public school, GSS 1. It's the shortest in the class, maybe even having some bully in the same class. He soon realizes that it's math, English, integrated science, and many of the other sciences, and then art, everything mixed together, shaken together, running over. He has to put it all in his brain. GSS 1. Then comes GSS 2. He learns about how to draw the digestive system. Comes GSS 3, respiratory system, digestive system, and every other thing you can call some sort of system. I think they don't teach us nervous system. They never used to. So baby Bulu is now in GSS 3, ready to write junior WAEC, in which the government says maybe they should cancel. But does his junior WAEC. At GSS 3, he is 13 years old. Wait, so it's 13 years old, 12, 13 at GSS 3. Now, SS1 comes, the confusion comes. The girl baby Bulu likes is in SS1, but she's in the art class. So he decides to go the art class way. 14, SS1. SS2, it tries his hand on GC, or sometimes even in the third term of SS1, tries his hand on the GC. But in SS2, it looks like at least he's gone half past his senior secondary school part. So he tries his hand on GC. And then he comes back with ping, 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 and fee. That's to say, plenty pass and just garnish with some failures. And then he goes back home, and mommy baby Bulu says, you can't enter university with this pee, and fee. So they say, get ready for WAEC and NECO. He enters SS3. This time, he's now 16 years old. Hopefully, baby Bulus did not repeat any parts of secondary school. He's 16. If he repeats, maybe 17. So he's 16 years old. And then his brain is ready, and he gets distracted. He's getting used to his hormone, and he's trying to put everything under check and order. Wait, I know this story sounds like an exciting, but I'll tell you how it all relates to how a social life of a teenager ends up affecting the work he or she chooses to do, wishes to do, want to do, cannot do, can't do. And why that 25 years age mark becomes classic impossible. Where am I? Okay, SS3, 17 years old, 16 years old. It tries on the GC, or WAEC at SS3. It gets 3 P's. I think they do 7 papers now. 3 P's, 2 C's, and maybe some fees. Fees. F is fee, by the way. I just don't want to say F. Fees. Some F fees to go with his papers. So his dad is angry, his mom is angry. Baby Bulu used to be very brilliant. What happened to you? Why are you just this way? Baby Bulu, face your book. Leave Facebook alone. Soon enough, Baby Bulu figures out that, after all, GCE form is less than 5,000 naira. I'll do it again. It goes on. From 17 years old, now 18 years old, tries on GCE to complement whatever he has had in WAEC or NECO. Now, how do you complement a result that is not good enough? It's almost good, it's as good as not complementing it at all. Are you following this? Running the race against the rats? This is what the story is about. It's running the race against the rats, the academic rat. Running the race against the academic rat. That's what this story is about. Okay, so at 18, now 19, GC again. Eventually, Baby Bulu is wise. He completes his papers, sees maybe about 6 of them, and then biology. Biology can be complex sometimes. Happens to be the guy that holds him from going to medical school because he needs biology to get into medical school. So he's not able to get biology. So they say, okay, even though, if he did art, for example, and maybe it's history now, or one of those courses, literature can be or government can be the tough one. Or commerce, I could go on. Or accounts. I can tell you the story around that one. Okay, so that becomes tough for him. So finally the papers join. It's just like combining Daily Trust with Guardian, Vanguard, all the newspapers together. Join together with super glue, or glue essentially. He has a result that he can use for our institution. Wait, this is where the story gets twisted. He's 20 years old right now. Let's go on the expenditure called jam or adventure. Let's hike what it takes to do jam now. It says jam 1, jamming. Jam 2, jamming. And then he thinks about this combination. Maybe it's my combination that is coming out wrong. I'm 22 going 23. Why should I feel bad? After all, the Boda that I used to call Boda, but the man I used to call Boda was saying opposite my house is also still trying jam. I met him trying to try jam. So we're now in the same class. So Boda was saying it's just opposite the house. Baby Bolu feels comfortable because there's a class of people stuck in the era of trying to try jam by being jammed by jam. Are you getting this story? This is where everything gets stuck. So at 22, 23, he keeps trying jam. Remember the age we're looking for the worker we need is 25 now. Jamming several times. Jamming again. And then he decides to change his combination in the jam examination and chooses to drop maybe commerce and go for government. And altogether decides to do more GCE one more time so that I can switch to sciences. Does the GCE, gets a sciences result. And then he tries to do jam, physics, maths, and some other course, maybe chemistry. New to the game, jams him. And then maybe he's lucky the 4th time at 24, which was the old 18, is the new 18 or is the new 16. After 8 years of possibly finishing secondary school, he finally gets a go with jam and passes jam. Is Baby Bulu's door? Think about it. Is it possible to have majority of Nigerian young people who try senior secondary school, trying to enter into university, all stuck up there, all of them, is it possible to say they are all dull? Dull. Very dull. Is it possible? I know the story is a little bit long, but be patient with me. You would appreciate the point I'm getting at. So at 24, is now in our institution, is modest about it, chooses a very modest course. Maybe physics education, agricultural education. Forgive me if you study these courses. I'm just trying to make a simple example. Possible straightforward courses, I would presume. Or maybe even chooses something that has to do with what was that course my dad almost had my head for if I ever scribbled it on the jam form? I'm trying to remember the name now. That was way back anyway. So, eventually picks a course, a 4-year course, due to strikes and being strong and being carried over by lecturers, not because he failed the exam, but his year has been carried over. Eventually, at 24, is able to do a 4-year course that comes up with a 6-year effect. And at 30 years old, my dearly beloved baby Bolu is ready to serve. 4 plus 2 years gives him 6 years. Or as they say in our institution, 4 plus X gives him 6 years. And now he's ready to pass. At 30 years old, is dressed up like a corps member with his mustache and gemu. Yes, his gemu possibly reaching low, very low, all the way down to his belly button. Old enough to be somebody's, let me say it this way, somebody's father. Somebody's father. At 30 years old, when some people have always had 2 kids at the time. At 30 years old, he finishes his service at 31, if he's allowed to serve. At the age of 31, his quest now begins to look for a job that in Nigeria, no rule says you can't employ a 31 years old, but there's a virtue feeling that if you're 31 years old with a degree with no wings from anywhere outside the country, there's a chance that everybody will look at you with no work experience to go by. Why on that they should hire a 31-year-old going 32 with no work experience trying to get a job? This story is similar to the story of many Nigerian young people. They are at an age outside the bracket of where they can get a job, yet want to work. Yet again, I'm yet in my yet again, unemployable because there's no work experience to back it all up. My question to you today is, how do you pick what opportunity would you provide for a Nigerian youth now who is in the range of 27 going 31, 32, 33, 45, who has to gain experience by not being experienced or gaining experience by looking for a job, and the act of looking for a job is a job in itself. How do you get such person employed? Your chance to answer that question comes up next after the break.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I'm ready. Let's take on the biggest debates on radio, provide insights, experience, and build an unforgettable discussion together. I am Femidi Amele. Let's talk with Femidlive is on.
And now,
get ready.
keep up with Femidlive for live updates on Twitter at Femidlive, on Facebook at Femidlive, Instagram at Femidlive. All major platforms you would find Femidlive. Send your messages and email femidi@live.com to keep the conversation going even now.